What's up, folks, and welcome to Indie Ramble. All right, I admit we're treading the line a little bit here with Indie. This is definitely not a AAA title, but it's not exactly from a tiny developer either. But I am a huge fan of Puzzle Bobble. Actually, the biggest fan of Bubble Bobble, but Puzzle Bobble is a series I've always enjoyed as well, and this is one of those things where you can tell had an indie level of love and care put into it. So this is Puzzle Bobble Everybubble, and it is the latest version of this long-running series, actually, that dates all the way back to the arcades. Strangely, this is exclusive to the Switch. Not sure why. No reason this couldn't have been out on other platforms. I hope they bring it out to other systems, actually, to give people a little bit more exposure to it, because though this game is very Japanese and very, I believe the word is kawaii, yeah, it actually plays great and has a really nicely well-rounded set of features that make it a very compelling package for the price, in my opinion, especially if you're into Puzzle Bobble stuff. So, yeah, let's give this a look here. I'm playing this with a Pro controller. You can play this with any type of Switch controller you like. The controls are quite simple for this, but this is a game that's very easy to learn, hard to master, one of those types of things. So you got a story mode, you have a versus mode, which has full online play, which I've actually been kind of addicted to. It's actually quite good. And this sort of local only mode called Puzzle Bobble versus Space Invaders, which is kind of a neat little mashup. But I'm going to show you the story here first. There is a lot to this. So you can have up to 4 players, as you can see here, if you want, which is kind of cool. You unlock different characters and sort of skins as you go. That you can choose from. Where is it? There it is. That's my favorite one right there. Yeah, love it. So you can sort of, you can do things up for your characters, which is kind of nice. And basically, there's a story to this. It's incredibly twee. It's incredibly, cutesy, which this whole series is about. I mean, this is not a violent game series, which is nice. It's very family friendly, very kid friendly, which is good. But basically, these creatures have kind of gone awry and filled the place with bubbles, and you're going around trying to clean the island out, pretty much is what you're doing. There's multiple different sections that you'll go through and unlock. There's also what's called Baron's Tower, which is basically an endless mode with a score attack element that has leaderboards, which is nice. And what you'll do is you go into each different area, and there are a large number of stages in each. Each area has 15 different stages, and then if you can get 3 stars on all of them, it has a separate set of EX stages, which are basically higher end challenge stages. Some of these EX stages can get gnarly, let me tell you that right now. And in each area, obviously the difficulty ramps up, but you are also introduced to different mechanics that the game has. So different types of bubbles that have different status effects, and as a result, the puzzles will tend to get a little bit more complicated and require you to, if you want to 3-star them at the very least, to utilize the abilities that you're being given in intelligent ways in order to clear out the level as fast as you can. So if you have one of these status affecting bubbles that you pop, so you see that sort of star one that I took out in the middle there. So if you hit them, they will take effect right away. However, if you drop them, what the game calls drop them, which is to say you pop the bubbles around it so that it falls, your little helper critter here picks it up, and then you can press a button to call it in whenever you like. So this particular power-up nukes all of the color that it touches. So that's one of the different options that you have there. And there we go, we got 3 stars on that. And there's a number of these. There's some that will change the color of the bubbles around them. There are some that have sort of like a global effect like that, like I just showed you. There are ones that will clear out basically rows of bubbles depending on the way they're rotated. There's actually quite a bit of depth here. When Puzzle Bobble came out in the arcade, it was fairly simple in terms of its core mechanics, but the series has evolved a lot over the years, and they've added a lot of really smart things to it. Like, this is a series that Taito actually takes fairly seriously. It's kind of a core staple of their catalog, which I've always thought was kind of interesting. So there's multiple win-loss conditions as well. So you can see here that the playfield is coming down on me, so you can, if it crosses that little dotted line there, if any of the bubbles cross that dotted line, that's a game over. Some of the levels, your goal is to just pop all the bubbles. In other levels, you need to rescue certain number of creatures that are in the level, and it doesn't matter if you pop all the bubbles to get there or not. Most of the zones that I've entered into so far start off fairly easily. Like, they introduce things very gradually. You'll find it pretty easy to get 3 stars most of the time, but then it will start requiring some practice for sure. And when you get into those EX stages, boy, they are something else. So if you want to 100% this game, it's going to take patience and it's going to take time. But that's cool because the game offers a huge amount of variety and replay value, and people who get obsessive about puzzle games, you know, they don't mind doing the same puzzle over and over and over again to min-max it and get it perfect, right? So if you're that type of person, this is going to be great for you. I mean, they could have free-to-play mobile garbaged the heck out of this concept, but they didn't. This game is a buy it once, and you've got everything that you need to 100% it if you want. There are 0 microtransactions in this, and it's not free, obviously, but they could have done this in a scummy free-to-play way, and they didn't, and I will really give them credit for that, because this game is so much better played in this sort of one-and-done kind of fashion, if you ask me. I mean, to be honest with you, I think most games are, but it's nice to see that they didn't really mobile up the Puzzle Bobble series with this iteration. I appreciate that a great deal. And as you're seeing and hearing here, the game is cute to the point of kind of making you ill a little bit. You know, a lot of people don't mind the very, like, uber cheery voices and sound effects in games like this. To me, they're not my favorite thing. But this is also a game you don't really need to have the sound up high for if you don't want to. Right? It's not really a big deal. You can just turn it down. I've been playing this often while working on other things, or while I have YouTube on my second monitor or something like that. And it works really well for that. So the sound is not an integral part of the gameplay. I will say that the music in this is fantastic. Taito is very well known for their sound department. It's actually technically, they're referred to as an in-house band, actually. They're called Zuntata. They're actually credited in the opening logos of this when it starts up, which I think is super cool. And they do good work. They are famous in Japan. You can actually, I believe, buy some of their music on CD. They've been around a very long time and are very well established. And they put their talents on display here. The music in this, I think, is really good. But yeah, you could probably do without the voice work. You know what? You can't check here. I wanted to check and see if it was possible to turn down the voice volume independently. I'm honestly not sure if it is, but that would be kind of handy for me personally anyway. But that's honestly kind of the worst criticism I have for this game. I've been having a ton of fun with it. You know, I saw Puzzle Bobble and I'm like, Bubble Bobble, particularly, I mean, the arcade version's awesome, but I grew up on the Commodore 64 version of that, and that is a game that holds a very large place in my heart, and because I played so much of that with my friends, and I get that little bit of nostalgic feeling while playing this, and as someone who is not the best at puzzle games and tends to get rather impatient with them, what I like about this one is that it's quick moving. Yes, you may have to do the same level over a number of times, especially if you want 100% it. But the thing that I love about it, so these ones are color changing, and they change to whatever color is around them when you hit them, is the way these are working. I'm totally hosing that up. This is not, you know, a puzzle in this, to pass or fail it doesn't take long. That's what's great. It only takes a couple minutes. Even when you're playing the online mode, it's best of 3 when you're playing competitive online, and a best of 3 match, I think the longest full match I ever had with another human player, which was a very high ranked Japanese player, was like 4 minutes. Most of the time it's way less than that. You know, this is a game that is not demanding of your time, but in terms of long stints anyway, obviously if you want 100% it will be, but it rewards you. Even if you don't have a huge amount of time to put in it at any one go, it still rewards you for your time. You can still feel that you've done a lot in a short period, which is very nice. And if you want to dig in for a longer session, you can, and it'll accommodate that very nicely, which it's just overall really well put together. I mean, the online, it had no lag. It worked perfectly for me when I was playing it. I never had any matches lag out. There's no voice chat. You can do some little, like, nice emotes to other people, which is kind of cool. You know what? Maybe I'll just show you that. And it works really well. I was regularly getting matched with players from Japan, and then we had no problems. Just everything about it just feels really, really polished. And kind of like Mario Kart here, you have an online rating. I did get up to bronze 2, but then I lost a couple, so I dropped down. So yeah, you can direct play with someone else if you use a password system, which is nice. So if you do want to play with a particular person, you know, a friend or whatever, you can do that. But I've generally found that the online play, the general matchmaking works really well. Honestly, this is the longest it's ever taken me to match somebody, so maybe it's just the time of day. But I've been having a good amount of fun with it. It actually keeps... Yeah, I'll just cancel it here, but it's basically a versus mode, so... But yeah, it sort of gives you a breakdown of what you've done and the battles you've won. It works really well, and I've just been really impressed with it. And then this mode, this is a little bit throwaway, but it's kind of cool in its own way as well. This is local only, this is not online. But basically what it does is it takes 2 of Taito's classic franchises, which are Puzzle Bobble and Space Invaders, and here you go. It puts them together like this. I think it's cute. I think it's cool. The way it works is it's just whichever player, once the board is cleared, whichever player has the highest score wins. That's all it is. So it's pretty simplistic. And when I played against the AI, it has generally wiped the floor with me. But it's a nice little add-on. You know, it's kind of cool. This would be a fun thing if you had some people over or whatever, and you were just like, "Oh, hey, you guys, remember Space Invaders? Yeah, check this out." You know, I think that's nice. It's a cool little thing. Leaderboards for this might have been nice, but it's fine. It's fine. I think it's a neat system. So, yeah, so, you know, it's a nice little add-on here. Oh, I will say the one thing that's a little weird is you don't seem to be able to exit out of it. It says, yeah, I just noticed that. I've never paused this mode before. That's a little strange. Apparently you can't get out of it unless you actually end the game. So, all right, well, let's just do that. There we go. So, it's a nice little add-on, like I said, and, yeah, it's just, I'm just super impressed with the feature loadout in this, and like, this here is probably the longest load time, and also initially booting the game, loading levels is like 2 seconds worth. It's super fast. I think that mode takes longer to load because it's actually launching into a different application, because you can see here it's sitting for a while, but it generally loads very quick overall. It runs at a rock solid 60 frames a second. It never hitches outside of those little load screens. Let's just pick this quick here. It never hitches. The presentation is good. It's very popping, very colorful, as you can see. It's a very wholesome game overall, you know. And again, people will, you know, it's good for families and kids because it's not violent, and it does require you to think. You know, this is a game that you're going to have to work hard on some of the puzzles, even if you just want to brute force your way through it and complete all the levels and you aren't particularly caring about 100%ing them. It's still going to make you work, especially in the later parts of the game here. So, but you can sort of see what we're doing here. The one thing that's nice as well is that if you do fail some of the story levels, it gives you the option to have an assist mode, which is actually what's enabled here right now, where it actually, you can sort of see the path that your bubble's going to take to make shots easier. What that does is it requires you to take 1 star. So no matter how quickly you complete the level, you're going to be stuck taking 1 star. But if you're cool with that and you're on a level where you're like, I just want to finish this and move on, it accommodates that. So nice little accessibility feature there as well. And yeah, it's just, I've been really enjoying this. I've spent more time with it than I thought I was going to, and I've been having a really good time, and I've been playing the online mode a lot before I go to bed. I'm holding my own. I would not say I'm great at it, and oh my god, the couple of times the game matched me with gold tier players, oh my god, I got wrecked. And there are people in the world who are way better at this game than I will ever be. That's for sure. But I think it only matches you with those high tier people if they're the only ones who are available. Generally, it matched me with people very close to my player rank, which was nice. This game seems to have been selling fairly well. The buzz around it has been good. So I think if you want to play the online, I think you're going to find a crowd without too much difficulty, for sure. And yeah, it has a lot of options for local play as well, which is great. Even in the story mode, you can do that with multiple people if you like. Here's the leaderboard integration. It works pretty well. You know, I generally like it. It shows your position there at the top, and it starts at the beginning, and you can scroll down if you want. As you can see, a lot of Japanese names with very high scores on this. Not terribly unexpected. And there is a friends leaderboard as well. I don't think I have any friends on the Switch who are playing this, but, you know, it is a thing nonetheless. Yeah, it's just me. So... It's really good overall. If you like Puzzle Bobble, you really should just grab this without question. If you've never tried Puzzle Bobble before, I think this is a pretty good time to get in on it. There's a lot of value here for your money. It's a game that runs great. It looks cool if you can put up with the, you know, again, with the bit of the twee voice acting in it. If you can put up with that, it's a very enjoyable time. It will challenge you, but not in a way that will necessarily frustrate you a great deal. And it runs great, and it is a fantastic Switch game. I mean, if they could only put this out on one platform, this is the one to put it on, I think. But I really think they should consider putting this on PC and the other consoles as well, because all you need is a regular controller to play it, and it's just so well put together. You know, Taito is a really interesting company. They've been around for a million years, but they have largely focused for the last very long time on arcade stuff, which is not exactly a thriving industry, but they've been doing very well for themselves. They sort of found their niche, and they've been thriving in that really well. And it's really cool to see them still putting out things like this and still clearly putting so much amount of quality and care into what they make. It's a really refreshing thing. You know, if a Taito game comes out, it's not a guarantee that it's going to be my kind of game, but you know it's going to be a game that's going to be polished and is going to just work well overall. And they have definitely not missed the mark on this one either. So yeah, that is Puzzle Bobble Everybubble. It's great. I really like it. I really like Puzzle Bobble, and they've done well by it here, which makes me very happy to see. And I definitely recommend giving this a try. Again, even if you're not into Puzzle Bobble, or if you're looking for a game, you know, a family-friendly game for younger kids or whatever, this is a great option, because it will stimulate, you know, it'll give you the stimulation of video games, but it will also work your brain a little bit, which is always a nice thing too. So thank you guys very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you liked what you saw here, please do all the normal YouTube things. Those do help the channel out a great deal. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, you know, does this look like it'll interest you? What are some other, you know, cool, quirky Taito games that you're fond of that you can think of? Because there's definitely plenty of those. And would you like to see this on other platforms? If people say that they like this on other platforms and can specify where they were, I'll make sure the PR people know that, so maybe they can pass that along to the developers as well. And as always, you can follow me over at twitch.tv/pxabstraction for multiple variety streams a week. I cover other indie games as well as retro stuff over there, including a bunch of things that are better suited to streaming than YouTube. We have a fantastic little community there, and I would love to see you be a part of it. Thanks again, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. You folks have yourselves a good one. Take her easy.